Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call, enabling you to become better. Most of the mythological stories, religious stories, are essentially parables that enable you to become better. Yesterday was a day when millions and millions, maybe billions, celebrated the return of Lord Rama in the shape of observing the Deepavali. And Ramayana is more often taken as a religious epic, and for some agnostics, a mythological one. But I take it as a parable, as a treatise on improvement, the way all parables are. It can enable you, if you study it minutely, carefully, to perform better in adverse periods. You are aware that many and varied are the storms of life, and any change in our comfort zone can precipitate a storm, an unpleasant state of being. Overnight, friends can become enemies. Overnight, wealth and security amassed over a lifetime can go down to the market. Why over time? In the twinkle of an eye. All those savings and all those assets can fritter away quietly until one day you realize that all is lost. The resulting inner conflict drums up a storm of worry and discord. And that's brought on by conflicting demands. You are unable to determine which of your duties should take precedence or what should be the course of action that you should adopt. Now this period is common to every human being at one time or the other. You feel depressed, despondent, dejected, sad, morose. And then you think, well, maybe I'm destined to suffer. Maybe it wasn't my destiny, it's the result of my karma. Sometimes you feel that it's the result of some curse of having been born or having offended somebody. Many ideas come to you and you lose your self-esteem, your respect for yourself. And more often than not, your capability to take a decision is blunted. You are unable to perform. I'm not talking of performing well. Many times you indulge into an act of performance, but you find you are incapable of doing that. You become intellectually, ethically, aesthetically impotent. So how to do better, or rather how to do your job, how to perform at all, is a million-dollar question. When a storm hits you, if you do not wish to become victims, your only real choice is to act. Act, act, nothing else. And Ramayana is replete with illustrations. How you can act amidst a storm. How the storm need not mow you down. As a matter of fact, it teaches you to perform better because it brings forth the latent qualities that you have not utilized. Every human being has capabilities, and most of the capabilities are underutilized or unutilized. And when you are in a state of suffering, when you feel that you have been hit by a cyclone of disasters, then your latent energy can come forth, provided you decide to act. And Ramayana is a classic example of that. You remember the story under the rule of King Dashrath of Ayodhya, which literally means land of no conflict. People have been talking about Ayodhya in India for a long time. It has been seen of acrimony between the Muslims and the Hindus because Muslims had converted the temple into a mosque, which Hindus wanted back. But Ayodhya by per se is Ayodhya. Ayodhya is war. Yoda. Ayodhya, no war. So it's a land of no conflict. It was a place ruled by King Dashrath, whose son was Lord Rama, and his brothers. And it was a perfect place to live in. It represents, the place itself represents those moments in our life when everything is promising. You have no worry at all. Your horizons are not marred by the stormy clouds. You wish at that time that this lasts forever, this become enduring, eternal, unchangeable. But before you know it, all havoc breaks loose and you find yourself amidst a major upheaval. Now, this is exactly what happened. Rama married, brought his wife home, and the king was going to appoint him as the regent, rather the future king, the Yuvraj. And one of the queens of King Dashrath couldn't tolerate it. And that brought forth a crisis that befell Ayodhya. The most momentous day in the city's history was about to dawn. And the people's prince, Ram, heir to Dashrath, was to be the crowned king because Dashrath had decided that he'll crown Rama as a king and then go into forest, take sannyas. People were happy. But then, during the night, everything turned upside down. Dashrath had promised his wife, Kakai. He had 3 wives, so he had promised her that she can ask for a boon. It so happened that there was a war and the linchpin of the chariot of Dashrath had gone missing. Kakai had put her finger in place of linchpin, suffered great pain, but she saved the king. And the king, in a fit of being overwhelmed by gratitude, promised her that he will carry out her desire. And she asked her to ask for a boon. She said, okay, I'll ask for a boon at a proper time. Now Dashrath was bound by commitment, and then she demanded that Rama should go into exile for 14 years and her son Bharat should become the king. Now Dashrath, having been bound, couldn't do anything and he became utterly ineffectual. So Rama had to go. And while Sita and Lakshman took it upon themselves to accompany Rama, the people of the city were disillusioned. They were amazed that such a good, young, capable prince could be sent into exile. And Dashrath, the pride of the Suryavanshi tribe, that is the solar dynasty, was defeated, destroyed, conflict abound. Now there was a catch-22 situation. Should the citizens revolt? Or should they maintain allegiance to Dashrath? Or should they go after or follow Rama and bring him back? Should the younger prince Bharat be made the sovereign? And if Bharat ascends the throne without the people's mandate, would he still be a legitimate king? So hundreds and thousands of questions were tormenting people. Ram, Sita, Lakshman, who enjoyed the security and the comfort of the privileged existence, now faced 14 years of exile in the forest. So beset with their own such difficulties, They upheld the core values and the sworn duties. They decided to act. Rama said, no, I'll go. My father made a promise, and I must ensure that he keeps his promise. So that the tradition of being bound by the commitment is not destroyed. Otherwise, people will start not believing the kings. They'll think that we are just cheats, and that sanctity of promise, the commitment, would not be there, and if that once a commitment is lost, then everything is lost. So he said, no, we will not falter in our commitment. And harsh conditions did not deter them. Even his wife said, I'm your better half, or I'm part of you, so I'll follow you. And the younger brother, Lakshman, promised to do so. So this was a conscious decision at three levels: Rama, Sita, and Lakshman. On the other side, look at it, the king had become practically comatose. And he said, look here, since he was ineffectual and he had become comatose, people told Rama not to leave because his father would die, and he did die. Rama said, no, life and death would not deter me from my course of action. And now devotion takes place. Birth comes along when he's told that he's to be crowned a king. He says, how come? It was my elder brother who was to be crowned a king. I'm third. Rama, Lakshmana, and then Bharat. I will not become a king. So he followed Lord Rama to the jungle, requested him to come back. And Ram said, no, I will not come back. But he took his slippers, brought them, placed them on the throne, and he said, look here, I'll just be your regent. I'll be your viceroy. I will not be a king. Now, this portrait of human excellence and this action of all of them, Dashrath, despite his love for justice and his love for Ram, could not break his compact. The fraternal love and the sense of honor that he was not legitimate king made him take a vow that he'll eternally be a regent and never sit on the throne, but the throne would be occupied by the slippers of Lord Rama, and he'll just be a caretaker. Lakshmana again. Now, it shows one thing, that you cannot control or you cannot predict how things will turn out. They are beyond your control. They are unpredictable. But one thing is sure and certain. You are made stronger, you are made greater, and you are tempered when adversity strikes. But do you always become stronger and greater and better tempered? No. You have to choose to become one. And this sense of choice by Ram, followed by Sita and Lakshman, made them what they are, the apotheosis of human virtue. Even Bharat attained that height which he would not have attained otherwise. So, imagine if Ram and Sita had remained in Ayodhya, you would never have witnessed the faithfulness, the resilience, and the compassion that Sita had shown and demonstrated in the events following her abduction by Ravana. Because the conditions were such that the qualities of faithfulness, honesty, integrity, resilience, and compassion, if they're not going to exist, do you think the Surpanakha episode would have happened? And Lakshmana would have retained his pristine purity? No. Sita's devotion to her Lord? No. So situations would have been different. And would they have been deemed as gods? No. They would have been good kings, good prince, good queen, that's it. Hundreds of others like that. But they received at that time a demigod and later on a godly status because of their capability to act. You can never have glimpse of prowess and wisdom of Rama as he stood up to Ravana. The remarkable decency and brotherly devotion of Bharat. You would never have seen Bharat's devotion, decency, sense of understanding and comprehension that he is not fit, so why should it become a king simply because of his mother's ambition? And then the all-round competency of Hanuman. These would never have happened, and had these not happened, what would have been the role models and the teachers? And then the unflinching dedication to duty of Lakshmana. So the potential for greatness which was shown would have been nipped in the bud. So this greatness only emerged because of the storm that was created by Kakai's insisting on the promise Dasharatha made be fulfilled. So Ramayana, if you study that way, how a conflict can give rise to the virtues and capabilities, tells you that stress, unforeseen difficulties and issues need not deter you. Rather, they should prod you forward. And what do you? It inspires you to perform, as I said, not only to perform, but to perform better. But first step is that you are capable of performance. And if you can perform, naturally, the next step would be perform better, and that will make you a better person. The challenge is to face the storm. The challenge is to harness the energy to strengthen your character and bring out the greatness in you. Maybe, if you are capable enough, you might attain the demigod and godly status. But that would happen only if you act, and act with sincerity, with integrity, and without demeaning yourself. Therein lies the message of Ramayana, inspiring, brooding, forcing you to perform better, and be a better human being. Thank you.